Hey, it's Topher, the Paranormal Hobo, and I'm back in West Virginia, this time to talk to Les Odell of the West Virginia Cryptids and Strange Encounters group, and we're going to talk a little bit about Bigfoot. And since we did the show with the museum and whatnot, now I'm actually getting a chance to talk to an actual Bigfoot hunter and maybe see what he thought of my hoots and whatnot that I did on the last show. So let's check him out.
But they're parabolic mics and dishes, and but it seems like areas that we've been to that we've had activity, there's always been, I don't know why, but there's coyote activity. We've heard coyotes, and then usually what precedes the coyotes, we'll hear this real long drawn out howl noise and the coyotes just go nuts. But other than that, it's just getting out there, looking around, checking areas where people have had sightings. If they call you, or you look at like some old databases, there's a few of them around, and you just get out in that areas. I'd like to hit the national forest area. I mean, it's a pretty good size. It runs a big part of the eastern part of the state. I think it's close to 1 million acres, so you're wide open to roam. I have found everything that I've found so far, except for the one track, has been in the national forest area. The one cast I have there comes from Fayette County, where the husband and wife earlier, well, actually it was October last year, but he actually came forward with it earlier this year, where they took a photo, and I was invited to come down to check out his land, and actually found the track down there. So.
Nice. So like, in the scale of like the Appalachian states, where seeing as how the book is so thick, I mean, it seems like prime. Anybody who rolls through sees just nothing but woods almost.
Yeah. Well, I think West Virginia is up there with sightings. You know what I mean? Like or supposed sightings. People call about them, but I don't think there's the avenue for it to be known, because like Pennsylvania, Ohio is always they've had their sightings, and it's been well known for years. Pennsylvania with some people like Brian Seach that I know, Fred Saluga, Stan Gordon, Eric Altman, all those guys in Pennsylvania have made Pennsylvania, especially eastern Pennsylvania, what it is. Ohio, there's other, there's investigators there. You got Salt Fork, around that area. That's made Ohio. But here in West Virginia, there's only a handful of us that do this. In that, and West Virginia is still kind of closed, as far as the people talking about it. It's just now starting to, probably within the past, I'm going to say 2 or 3 years, starting to advance, the Bigfoot stuff. I mean, we've had Mothman and all that stuff, but as far as Bigfoot, the culture, or not culture, but the Bigfoot itself, and people coming out about it, and it just hasn't happened here until recently. So hopefully it keeps going, makes it bigger, and then West Virginia gets well known for Bigfoot as well as Mothman and Flatwoods Monster and stuff like that, and I'm hoping to help that along. So
cool. So can you, before we have to end this, because I only have like 10-15 minutes, can you show me how to do
well, I don't do too many. Mainly the only thing I do is a whoop, and I just go whoop. That's about it. And I've tried the whole thing that Daniel does, I know it's, but he goes like that somehow, and it's real loud knock, and it's just amazing when he does it. But mainly what I'll do is whoops, like the jabber noise, you know, seems to get some of them going, or something going. I still don't know what we're looking at here. I'm still not a sole, you know, proponent of Bigfoot. I'm still trying to figure what it is. I mean, when you look into them, you get the whole aspect of physical feature stuff, and you get the weird paranormal stuff. So, and I'm one of those people that doesn't go both, you know, one way or the other. I'm still right there in the middle trying to figure it out. I mean, with different things that's associated with them, you know, whether they are able to do certain things, whether it's a paranormal thing or they're much advanced than what we think they are, I'm not sure. So that's why I'll listen to anything and everything someone tells me.
So somebody had mentioned that there's talks now about connections to lights in the sky and Bigfoot sightings.
Oh, yeah.
And
There's been talks about that for years. I mean, like, you know, Stan Gordon has talked about that for years. You know, so hasn't Fred Saluga talked about that for years, about, you know, it being a paranormal thing, whether it's alien related with these lights, or whether it's you know, interdimensional or whatever. You know, that's been around for a long time, even from like the 70s and stuff. But I think it's getting to be more in the light now, because more people are starting to realize, hey, there's other strange things going on with Bigfoot than just this thing out here walking around the woods. I mean, you got people claiming that they, you know, cloak, you know, disappear in front of them. I mean, I've even taken one account where a guy told me he was driving down the road. He's a delivery driver at nighttime, and he was driving down this straightaway, seen something out in front of him, was standing in the road. He stopped about 75 yards. He said approximately 75 yards away from it. His headlights were on. He kicked the high beams on, and when he did, it turned, and he realized it was a large. He described it as a large, hairy, ape-like looking humanoid man, whatever. He didn't know what he was looking at. He was in shock. He said as it turned, it walked toward him, a couple steps toward him, and he said to him it seemed like it was started to shrink down, is how he described it. As it went down toward the ground to almost all fours, he said it actually transformed, or, you know, shape-shifted into a large buck deer and ran off into the woods. So,
well, that kind of goes to the shamanistic stuff when you look at like some of the past, you know, like the Five Brothers and Old Man in the Woods and that type of.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, even in West Virginia, we got all kinds of names for them. You know, Old Man in the Woods, and since you meant that, Stone Man, all that stuff. You know, all kind of stuff.
All right, that was a fun conversation. Let's just try this. Maybe it's too early. I don't know. So yeah, this is a fun trip. It was a long trip since the detour from Georgia, but I'll be heading to Indiana next, and where we'll be talking about another Bigfoot encounter thing that happened in the 70s in a small local rural town that not a lot of people have heard about. So let me hit the road, and see you later.